Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a recommendation video. So you guys really came through for me because I asked you on my community page to give me a trope and I would make a video giving you one recommendation on that trope. And you guys really came through. So thank you to everyone who participated in that. I will be going through your tropes today and giving you my recommendations. This was really fun. Some were very typical tropes that are very popular and some that were pretty specific. So I had to really dig deep for this, for a few of these. All right, so let's just get into it, shall we? So our first trope was marriage of convenience, and that was submitted by Paperbacks and Ponytails, so thank you very much. So my recommendation for this trope is Would You Rather by Alice and Ashley. And this is also a bit of a fake date, but the marriage of convenience is I think the better part of it, because I am very partial to fake date. It has to have something extra, something more, because I just feel fake date is so overdone. So there is fake date to this, so if you like fake date, that is something to consider. But it's basically about these two friends. They have been, they've grown up as friends, they've been friends through college and everything, and he has always had feelings for her, but she's kind of oblivious to it. She's got stuff going on, she's got a medical condition, and they're, adults now, and she is going to school, and she's going to lose her insurance. So he has a good job, so as this marriage of convenience, they agree to get married. He talks her into getting married because she is going to need a kidney transplant at some point, and she's going to need her medical care. And that this way she can keep going to college, finish, and still, be safe with her health. So she marries her friend, and he's like, hey, it helps you out. He cares about her, obviously. He wants her to be safe. And he's always had feelings for her. So this is a win-win for him as far as getting to live with her, and they have to pretend that they are actually together, not just married for healthcare. So yeah, it's very sweet. As things develop, as you know they will, he's all for it. He's all for this, and he's ready to roll. But she feels she doesn't want to burden him with her condition, her health condition, and what that could the burdens emotionally, financially, all of that could bring upon a relationship that she's in. So that's really her big hang up in this book, that she doesn't want to burden him with her illness. So it's a really good marriage of convenience. It's 5 stars. I just loved it. It just stuck out for me as something different. The next trope was lovers to enemies, not to be confused with enemies to lovers. That was submitted by a reader's journal. So what I went with was The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. So this is a fantasy, and it is a couple books in, but I've only read the first book. And it's about Laura, who's a warrior princess, and she is kind of, not traded, but it's a political alliance marriage. So a marriage of convenience, I guess, as well. You could think of it that way. She is sent to a strategic kingdom to basically be a mole, find out their weaknesses and exploit those weaknesses. So that's her mission, and she is dead set on it. So when she gets there, she marries Aaron, who is the king of this kingdom, and they start to develop things, of course, as you would do. So eventually, it is a very slow, build feelings. But this whole time she has this preconceived notion about him and his people and what they're doing in the kingdom. And as she starts to realize that that may not be the case, it may be too late for that. So this book definitely falls under enemies, lovers to enemies. I haven't read the second book, but by the end of the first book, we're going to find out that things are not going to go well for this couple when her true motives are kind of discovered. So regardless of her intentions now, yeah. So they're definitely, now I think that maybe this trope is more heavily covered in the second book, perhaps, but this is, the one that came to mind. The next trope is guy falls first and is a simp for the entirety of the book. And that was submitted by The Masked Story Write. I love a guys falls first, very much here for a guys falls first. And the one that came to mind right away for this was the Play Along. So that's number 4 in the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. Now this, it wasn't like my favorite book of all time, but it's heavy on the guy falls first, like very much. It is also a fake date, kind of a marriage of convenience, but there's some other tropes that follow along with this. So Kennedy is coming to work as a doctor for the Windy City Warriors, and she's, let's just say, underutilized. But first we start out the book where Isaiah and Kennedy meet, and he's instantly smitten with her. But things don't happen, and then I think it's like a 5-year jump to where the team is in Las Vegas, and oops, a drunken night in Vegas. Oh my, what could happen in a drunken night in Vegas? So yes, these two get married, and he has been obsessed with her for like 5 years, and yeah, so he is all about keeping this marriage together. He is obsessed with her. Everyone on the team knows he's obsessed with her. He's been like shamelessly flirting with her for 5 years, but I don't think she doesn't like take him seriously. So he is like, yes, I've married the woman of my dreams now, and I have to like convince her kind of to give this a go, give the relationship a go, give the marriage a go, because he's just been in love with her since he first met her. And she has reasons to stay in this marriage for like a year. So there's other storyline going around that. But he is obsessed with her. He is like so, yeah, falls insta love, falls first, and is like obsessed with her for the whole book. The next trope was age gap, which was submitted by Sabrina Farmer. So the rec I have for age gap is The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen. And honestly, I didn't have a ton of options for this, which is weird because I love an age gap. Like I like that trope is like really fun. So please leave me in the comments below, leave me a age gap, your favorite age gap trope book, because I need to read more of these. I've realized thought I had more in my books that I've read, but I guess I don't. But this is one of them. So The Kiss Thief. So Francisca Frankie is like a mob princess. Like her dad runs like a mob in Chicago, and she's basically, you know, collateral. She's a bargaining chip. So after this like kiss that is at an event, she is married off to a senator, I think he is. Yeah, Senator Wolf Keaton. So she is kind of, it's a arranged marriage of convenience, but she's 19 and he is much older. So yeah, there's like I don't think he's probably in his like 30s or something. So there's like a fairly big age gap in this book. And of course with any marriage of convenience and then this like age gap, you know, feelings are going to develop. There might be another guy involved. Yeah, I don't think I even realized this was a mob story when I read it, because I'm not really into mob romances. So take that into consideration, that there is like the mob aspect in this book. The next trope, which is a banger, is Forbidden Love. Love this one. And that was submitted by Bookscapade. And okay, so I'm going to recommend a book I read earlier this year, which made me cry, gave me the worst book hangover I've had this year, and that is On the Edge of Daylight by Giselle Beaumont. I'm doing that from memory. So this is basically Titanic fan fiction. It started out as Titanic movie fan fiction, and then it had its own original story to it, and then like got published. So this is basically about Esther, who is the first female officer in training on White Star Line, and then Officer Murdoch, who was a real, Esther is fictional, Officer Murdoch, First Officer Murdoch, who was a real person on the Titanic that perished in the sinking. So Esther has worked her whole life. She's done everything she's supposed to do, everything that a man would be required to do to become an officer or start officer training. But because she's a woman, she is not given the opportunity. She has some pull, like a family member has some pull, so they pull some strings to get her on the maiden voyage of the Titanic as an officer in training. And she is not welcomed. She is not welcomed at all. The least so by Murdoch, who there's a little bit miscommunication, a little bit of like assumption thing going on from another storyline, but he really does not like her. And of course, that's who she's paired with to train her. So they do their rounds together, they are on watch together, they do all these things together. And over time, this is also like, I feel like enemies to friends to enemies again, to friends, like back and forth, like a lot. Like it's not a linear journey for them. But when feelings start to develop, there is a strict no fraternization policy at White Star Line. So they are risking a lot. It's very forbidden love if they want to like continue exploring what they feel for each other. Esther would be fired and not only never hired again, but she also would really ruin the reputation for like women going forward that want to be like officers on the White Star Line or officers on any line, and that would have far-reaching consequences. And then Murdoch, he is 2 positions away from being captain, which is like his life's dream, his whole family's like legacy that they've been sailors and captains. So that would be done. That would be over. So this is like a severely forbidden love story. Like they are not allowed to be together. But is any of that even going to matter? I don't know, because it's the Titanic. So very love the forbidden love in this one. So Michaela's Bookshelf submitted Grumpy Sunshine, which is a classic, and I went with The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Love Christina Lauren. And so basically this is about Olive and Ethan. So she's her sister's maid of honor, and he's his friend's. He's the best man's friend. So they've been in each other's orbit for quite a while, and they hate each other. The wedding happens, and then everybody gets food poisoning at the reception, except for Olive and Ethan, of course. So there's this all expenses paid, like everything's done, like trip to Hawaii, that the bride and groom cannot go on because they are projectile vomiting and other things. So they agree to just go because it's all going to be lost. And they'll just, they'll go, they'll split up, they'll have a nice vacation separately, and then they'll just come back. And of course that doesn't happen. So she hates Ethan, he hates her, Grumpy Sunshine, and yeah, there's a fake date. I feel like, is there any book that doesn't have fake date in it, for God's sakes? There is a little bit of a fake date to it, where they have to pretend to be married, and of course, things develop. That Mama Book Nook submitted fake dating or second chance. So I did both. So my favorite fake date, and I just said that, like, I'm very finicky and choosy about my fake date books because they're so overdone. Like, it's hard to find a book that doesn't have fake date in it. So I'm just like tired of it. So for me to pick one that I really like the fake date aspect about, this is my recommendation, and is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. All right, so this book, this series, which was also they made 2 movies out of the 3 books on Netflix, I believe. So Laura Jean has, throughout her life, written letters to boys that she has loved, of course did not send them, puts them away, and they get mailed. So yeah, and one of those boys is her sister's ex-boyfriend, so that's problematic. To kind of cover up any lingering feelings for him, she fake dates a boy that she kind of had a crush on a long time ago, and he is in it for that he just got dumped by his girlfriend. So they are going to fake date together to kind of like save face. They're going to save each other's faces with their respective situations. And of course, things happen. Now, I loved this series so much. I remember finishing the first book on a flight and then being like, okay, there's like 20 minutes left till we land. And I was just like, beside myself, waiting to land so we can get Wi-Fi and I could take the second book. So yes, my favorite fake date is To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Now on to second chance romance, which is one of my favorite tropes. Love second chance romance. So I picked Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, another Christina Lauren rec. And this one is about Macy, and Elliot. And it's, of course, second chance romance. So there's like the dual timelines. So they grew up together, kind of, I think their parents, I am very much overdue for a reread on this, so forgive me. But they kind of grow up next to each other at like a summer, the whole like a summer house thing where, they're there for the summers and yeah. So they kind of grew up together, friends more, bad breakup, time has gone by and now they've like come back into each other's lives many years later. And they have to grapple with feelings that are still there for each other. Why? Like, also like grappling with the reasons why they broke up and other things that that Elliot might not know about that affected her as well around that same time. So yeah, I am so due for an update. I mean, a reread. But yeah, I don't want to give anything else away. But yeah, it's like that whole like summer romance as they grow up, and then devastation, heartbreak. The reasons I read. Yes, 5 stars. Okay, this is like probably the hardest one. I was like, what? So this Kiwi, 0, said, I don't know if this is a trope, but a renovation romance that is heavy on the architecture and renovations. I was like, damn, I had to look up, like, I've never even heard of this trope before. So I was like, have I read a book that fits into this trope? And thankfully, I found one. And that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Now, it's also been a while since I've read this one, but I know so basically they're co-workers at like a publishing house, I think, and they hate each other. So this is also very like grumpy sunshine. Lucy is very likes bright clothes and is very like personable, and Joshua is like seemingly very grumpy and meticulous and joyless like in his whole life. So they do not get along. Yeah, they hate each other. So this is also grumpy sunshine, enemies to lovers, and whatever this was for, the renovation thing. So if I remember from what I looked up, there is a subplot where Joshua is renovating his house. That's as close as I could get. So yeah, sorry. I gave you something, but it's not all like super renovation heavy or architecture heavy, but yes. So they're going to be competing for a what's it called? A promotion. And yeah, so that kind of brings their rivalry to a whole new level. That's all I'll say. So Liz Loves Books gave us the classic trope of one bed. And when I was putting this all together, I was actually reading a one bed trope book. So that was perfect. And that is Cursed Kingdom by Ember Blackthorne. I am 99.9% sure that is a pen name, but it is the coolest pen name I've ever heard. Ember Blackthorne. I love it. But anyway, it is about Marigold, who is invited to this is a series, first in a series. I think there's 4 books out right now. I've only read the first one. I will be reading more. Yeah, Marigold gets invited. She's just like a normal, like, just graduated from college, early 20s girl. And she gets invited to the Crestwood, I believe that's what their last name is, Crestwood mansion or manor or whatever for a masquerade ball. And there's like these 3 like billionaire brothers that like live there. So out of nowhere, she gets this invitation and she goes. Turns out that this is a romantasy or a fantasy series. So things are not what they seem. And she's the key to helping them with a curse. And she's in their world. And this is also a reverse harem, which is my first reverse harem. And I'm liking it. I'm shocked that I'm liking it. But I don't know why I'm shocked. I love a love triangle. So you just add one more person and it's a reverse harem or a harem. I'm liking it. But there is one of the brothers and her have to hide in an inn overnight, and they have to pretend to be married. And of course, there's only one bed. So we have the one bed trope in the first book of Cursed Kingdom. The next trope is political intrigue fantasy, and that was submitted by Princess Does. So I decided to go with The Queen of the Tierling by Erica Johansson, and that is a fantasy series. It's completed, 3 books, one of the most underrated fantasy series I've read. So recommended on that alone. But there is, it's about a Princess Kelsey, and she was exiled. I think she was like raised in exile, and it's time for her now to like come back and claim her throne. And she also has this like Tierling like gem that she wears that has power. And yeah, she comes back to like reclaim her throne, her family's seat of power, and she has this like group of like knights and people around her. So like some really beautiful like found family in this book. But there is a lot of political intrigue and political maneuvering in this book. The next trope is cult/religious thriller, and that was submitted by Carolyn V. Reeds. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Everybody that participated in this will be linked below, will be mentioned below, so please go check out their channels. Yeah, cult and religious thriller, and I went for Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel, and that is about Maeve that was raised in a cult and got out, and she got out with her cousin Andrea, but then they drifted apart and they've gone on with their lives. And all of a sudden, Andrea comes back into Maeve's life later on, and they kind of like reconnect. She goes to like spend like time with her where she lives in the Catskills, and Andrea has this, of course, a whole life and social circle that Maeve isn't familiar with and is getting acquainted with. And yeah, it's bringing up a lot of stuff about the cult they were raised in, and maybe some current issues too. That's all I'll say about it. But yeah, love a good cult story. The last trope that you guys so graciously gave me was unreliable narrator thriller. And that was submitted by Scorpio Queen 3538. So I went with We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And I don't read a ton of thrillers. And I tried to, if I had multiple choices, either if I really, really loved it, I went with that one, or if I had multiple, I kind of tried to go with one that was less talked about. I was going to go with Gone Girl, but that is such a massive book, so I decided to go with We Were Liars, which is still like popular, but not as much as Gone Girl. So it's about Cadence, and her and her cousins spend every summer at this like private island because she has a very rich grandfather, and like the moms all bring their kids there, and the cousins just like run amok and like cause mayhem all summer long. And then one summer, something bad happens, and if I'm remembering correctly, Cadence is the only one that doesn't remember what happened. And she's like determined to find out what happened. So that's all I can say about it. So We Were Liars. Okay, so those are all my recommendations. Thank you so much for everyone that participated, because if I didn't get enough responses, I wouldn't have been able to make the video. So thank you for making this video possible, and I hope somebody found some good recommendations. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Down below, you can find my like Instagram, wish list, all the things, Goodreads, all that's below. And also, please stop into our reading and productivity sprints that we have about twice a week. We have a great group in there, and also Discord. So if you come in there, you can get the Discord link, because the link only lasts for like 7 days, so I can't really put it really in there because it doesn't work after like a week or something. But anyway, that's all from me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.